The hum of machinery filled the air in the underground base, blending with the tension that gripped every officer in the room. The walls, lined with blinking monitors and towering communication systems, displayed one terrifying reality. An alien fleet was on its way to Earth. Each screen flickered with data, speed, direction, and an unmistakable certainty that the Galactic Council, the most powerful empire in the galaxy, had finally set its sights on the human race. In one of the many rooms of this sprawling underground command center, a group of Earth's top military minds was working tirelessly to track the movements of the alien ships. The faint light of their monitors reflected off their worried faces as they quickly deciphered the approaching fleet's coordinates. The military leaders had known for months that the Council had been preparing to attack Earth, but no one had anticipated it would come so soon. 5 hours, murmured General Samuel Ross, his voice low and grim as he glanced up from his screen. We have 5 hours before they arrive. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, almost mocking them. The sound was a constant reminder of how little time they had left. The alien fleet had already entered the outskirts of Earth's solar system, and there was no stopping them now. Their strategy had been clear. Earth, with its primitive technology and scattered defenses, was a planet not worth fearing. To the Galactic Council, humanity was nothing more than a nuisance, insignificant and weak. Their mission was simple: to wipe out Earth, to make an example of the human race for all to see. But what the aliens didn't know was that humanity was not as weak as they thought. For years, Earth had been secretly studying alien technology. It was a project that had begun in the wake of humanity's first encounters with extraterrestrial life. While the Council was focused on conquering worlds and expanding its empire, humans had quietly gathered the pieces of technology left behind by alien scouts. From captured ships to intercepted communications, humanity had been learning. The aliens were unaware that the humans had adapted their technologies into their own weapons and defense systems. Now, with the invasion imminent, Earth's military leaders knew that their only hope for survival lay in the secrets they had uncovered. But the question was, would it be enough to hold off a fleet as powerful as the Galactic Council's? As General Ross and his team raced against time, Jason Carter, one of Earth's top soldiers, stood in front of a massive screen that displayed a series of encrypted alien communications. His fingers danced over the keyboard, decoding the alien language with a skill honed from years of training and preparation. Sweat trickled down his brow as he worked, the urgency of the situation never leaving his mind. Suddenly, the screen flashed red, and a new message appeared. It was short, cryptic, but its meaning was unmistakable. The shock of the discovery sent a cold chill through Jason's body. He turned to General Ross, his voice steady but full of disbelief. "Sir, we've intercepted an encrypted message. It's from the fleet." The general's eyes narrowed. "What does it say?" Jason swallowed hard. "It's a weapon, aimed at Earth's core." The room fell silent. No one spoke for a moment, as the gravity of the words sank in. The core of the planet, the very heart of Earth itself, was being targeted. It wasn't just an attack on cities or infrastructure. It was an attack on the planet as a whole, a weapon designed to cause the planet to crumble from the inside out. Earth, in its entirety, would be destroyed. "The core," General Ross repeated, his voice barely above a whisper. How could they even know about the core? Jason didn't have the answer, but the implications were terrifying. The Galactic Council had been studying Earth for years, but they had always thought of it as a primitive backwater, too far beneath their attention to be worth a detailed exploration. But this weapon was something else. It was an indication that the Council had known more about Earth than they had ever let on. The countdown to the end of humanity had begun, and there was no way to stop it, not without desperate action. Jason's mind raced. He knew Earth had no time to waste. The alien fleet would be on them soon, and they had no way of knowing just how powerful the weapon was. What if they couldn't stop it? What if Earth, the planet that had fought wars and survived disasters, couldn't fight its way out of this one? "What are our options, Jason?" General Ross asked, his voice filled with urgency. Jason paused for a long moment, weighing his words carefully. "We have one shot. We'll need to use the technology we've gathered from their ships. I don't know if it will be enough, but if we don't try, Earth will be gone." The general nodded grimly. "Then we'll fight back, no matter the odds." But as they scrambled to prepare Earth's defenses, Jason couldn't shake the feeling that the odds were stacked too high against them. A powerful alien force, armed with weapons Earth couldn't fully understand, was bearing down on them. The humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing the unimaginable. The tension in the room grew, thickening with each passing minute. Jason couldn't stop thinking about the weapon aimed at Earth's core. What kind of destruction would it cause? Would humanity have enough time to stop it before it was too late? The seconds ticked away like hours. Jason glanced at the countdown timer on the wall. It was now down to 4 hours. The alien fleet would soon be in range, and there would be no turning back. It was up to the humans to fight with everything they had, even if they weren't sure they could win. The room was tense, every person silently calculating the chances of survival. But Jason knew one thing for certain. The coming battle would be unlike any humanity had ever faced. The aliens had made a grave mistake in underestimating Earth, and now they would feel the consequences. But as the countdown to war continued, Jason couldn't help but wonder, would the humans rise to the challenge in time, or would they become another forgotten casualty in the grand scheme of the galaxy? The fate of Earth hung in the balance, and the clock was ticking down, each passing second drawing them closer to a war that would change everything. Jason Carter's grip tightened on the controls of his starfighter as he stared out into the vast expanse of space. His heart raced, but his mind remained calm and focused. This wasn't like any battle he had ever fought. The stakes were higher than ever before. Earth's survival was on the line, and he knew that he was humanity's last chance. He wasn't just a soldier anymore. He was a leader, a strategist, and above all, a symbol of hope. Jason had been through countless battles, each one more brutal than the last. But this time was different. This time, Earth's very existence was under threat. He thought back to the days when the first reports of the Galactic Council's movements had arrived. At first, they had been dismissed as just another alien threat, one that humanity could easily overcome. But as the weeks passed, the situation became clearer. The Galactic Council wasn't just another invading force. They were a powerful empire, far more advanced than humanity had ever imagined. They were ruthless, calculating, and utterly confident in their superiority. And they believed that Earth was just another insignificant world, one ripe for conquest. But the Council had underestimated humanity. What they didn't know was that Earth had been preparing for this moment for years. Humanity had been secretly studying alien technology, learning from every encounter with extraterrestrial life. Over the years, they had gathered pieces of alien ships, data on advanced weapons, and even artificial intelligence from previous battles. What started as a research project to understand alien tech had slowly transformed into Earth's most formidable weapon, a fleet of modified human starships stolen from their encounters with alien invaders. The time had come to put these weapons to the test, and Jason Carter, one of the most skilled and trusted soldiers in Earth's military, would lead the charge. "Carter, you're up," came the voice of General Ross over the comms, snapping Jason out of his thoughts. "The first wave is approaching. It's time to show them what humanity can do." Jason nodded, steeling himself for the battle ahead. The plan was simple. Earth's starships would engage the alien fleet head-on, using their cloaking devices to launch a surprise attack. The cloaks would hide the ships from the enemy sensors, allowing the humans to strike first and catch the aliens off guard. But the real secret weapon was the modified human fleet, an arsenal of stolen alien ships retrofitted with Earth's own advanced technologies. The aliens had no idea what they were up against. As Jason and his team powered up their cloaked ships, he could feel the weight of the mission bearing down on him. The enemy fleet was massive, far larger than anything humanity had ever faced. But there was a fire in Jason's chest, an undeniable drive that came from the realization that the human race had no other choice. If they didn't win this battle, Earth would be lost. He glanced over at Captain Ilara's fleet, an intimidating sight. She was the leader of the alien forces, a cold and calculating strategist who believed that humanity was no match for their advanced technology. Jason had studied her tactics extensively. She was a master at controlling her forces, always 10 steps ahead of her enemies. But she had made one fatal mistake. She had underestimated the resilience of humanity. The human fleet, now cloaked and hidden from view, drifted silently in the vastness of space. The fleet was a mix of various ships, modified Earth-made vessels, and alien ships converted for human use. It was a motley crew, but it was a crew united by a single purpose: to protect their home, no matter the cost. "Ready, Carter," came the voice of his co-pilot, Lieutenant Sarah Bennett, through the comms. Her voice was calm, but Jason could hear the tension in it. They both knew what was at stake. "Ready," Jason replied, his eyes narrowing as he focused on the approaching alien ships. The seconds stretched into eternity as they waited for the signal. Then, without warning, the cloaking devices dropped, and the human fleet became visible in space, emerging from the shadows like ghosts. The alien ships, caught off guard, scrambled to react. But it was too late. The humans had already made their move. Jason barked orders to his team, directing them to attack the alien supply ship at the rear of the fleet. The aliens had no idea they were under attack until the first volley of laser fire tore through the silence of space. The modified human ships unleashed a barrage of high-powered lasers, striking the alien vessels with pinpoint accuracy. Explosions rippled across the alien fleet as the humans launched their assault. Jason's starfighter weaved through the chaos, dodging laser blasts and returning fire with deadly precision. He could feel the adrenaline pumping through his veins as he led his squadron through the storm of enemy fire. His ship was equipped with the latest in human technology: enhanced shields, advanced weapons, and most importantly, the robotic drones that had been deployed from his ship. These drones, designed to assist in combat, were equipped with laser cannons and tactical AI that could think and react in real time. They were the perfect complement to the human fighters, attacking with ruthless efficiency. The space around them became a battlefield, filled with bright flashes of energy and the deafening silence of war. Explosions lit up the dark void as both fleets exchanged fire, but the humans had the advantage of surprise. Alien ships, once thought invincible, were now falling under the weight of humanity's relentless assault. Jason watched as the alien supply ship that he had targeted took a direct hit, sending it spiraling out of control. The ship's hull cracked open, and a massive explosion ripped through it, taking out several other alien vessels in the blast. It was a moment of triumph, but Jason knew this was just the beginning. The battle was far from over. As the human fleet continued to press the attack, the scene outside was nothing short of chaotic. Explosions filled the sky as both sides fought for dominance. The modified human ships fought like wild animals, using every trick and strategy they had learned over the years. The fast-paced space combat was a blur of weapons fire, cloaked attacks, and close-quarters skirmishes that kept the alien forces off balance. The tension was palpable as the humans fought tooth and nail to keep their fleet intact. But the aliens weren't going down without a fight. Captain Ilara's fleet, although caught off guard at first, quickly regrouped. They unleashed a devastating counterattack, sending wave after wave of ships at the human fleet. The battle raged on, each side suffering heavy losses. Jason's thoughts were interrupted by a sudden explosion that rocked his ship. The shockwave sent him spiraling, but he quickly regained control. He could see the damage on his ship's dashboard. Multiple systems were down, but his ship was still operational. He was far from finished. "Stay focused, Carter." Lieutenant Bennett's voice rang in his ear. "We can't let them break through." Jason nodded, his determination hardening. The aliens had launched a massive orbital bombardment against Earth, but this time it would not be enough. The humans were fighting back, using everything they had. Jason's eyes gleamed with resolve. The aliens had made their mistake. Underestimating humanity had cost them dearly. As the battle raged on, Jason knew this was only the beginning. There was more at stake than just a single fight. This was a war for survival, and Earth's secret weapon had just been unleashed. The battle had only just begun, and humanity would fight until the very end. The fight for Earth's survival had just escalated to unimaginable heights, and the outcome was still uncertain. The humans had shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated, and they would stop at nothing to protect their world. Jason's fingers gripped the cold metal of his ship's control panel, the vibrations from the battle surrounding him. His thoughts, however, were far from the chaos of space combat. As he looked out into the vastness of the universe, a familiar weight settled on his chest, the weight of a long history, one written in blood, struggle, and survival. His mind drifted back to Earth's past, where the story of humanity's survival began. Humans were never the strongest or most powerful creatures in the galaxy. They weren't born with innate advantages, and they certainly weren't the first species to colonize space. But time and time again, humanity had defied the odds and found a way to adapt, to survive, to win. This was their greatest strength. Jason closed his eyes for a moment, allowing the memories to flood his mind. He saw the early tribes of humanity, struggling to survive in a world filled with dangers. The first humans fought wild animals, harsh weather, and the unknown, but they prevailed. Through cleverness, resourcefulness, and sheer will, they built civilizations, overcame the elements, and expanded their reach across the Earth. As history progressed, humanity faced even greater challenges. Jason thought of the Great World Wars, where entire nations clashed and entire cities were reduced to rubble. He thought of the bloodshed, the destruction, and the grief that followed. But he also thought of how humanity always found a way to rebuild. From the ashes of devastation, Earth's people had risen again, stronger and more determined than ever before. It was this unbreakable spirit that Jason had inherited, and it was this spirit that would carry him and his comrades through the darkest days of this war. But now, they were facing a new enemy, one that no one on Earth had ever imagined: the Galactic Council. These aliens were technologically advanced in ways humanity couldn't fully comprehend. They controlled fleets of warships capable of obliterating entire planets, wielded devastating weapons that could tear apart the very fabric of space, and had powers that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The Council saw Earth as nothing more than a speck in the grand scheme of the galaxy, an insignificant, primitive world full of humans who stood no chance against their might. Jason's mind snapped back to the present as the sound of blaster fire crackled over his comms. The battle raged on around him, and every fiber of his being screamed for action. His pulse quickened, but his thoughts were still grounded in the same fundamental truth that had carried humanity through every crisis in history. Humans might not have the most advanced technology, but they had something the aliens would never understand: a relentless drive to survive, no matter the cost. The aliens were starting to believe that this fight was already won. They underestimated humanity's resourcefulness, thinking that Earth's military was no match for their superior weapons and technology. Jason had seen it in their eyes: the arrogance, the confidence that they could crush Earth's defenses without breaking a sweat. But that was the mistake they had made. They hadn't accounted for the one thing the humans had in abundance: sheer determination. Jason couldn't help but smile bitterly as he thought of the alien commanders. They thought their weaponry made them invincible, but they were wrong. The human fleet had already shown them that Earth's military could stand up to their attacks, using tactics that were far from conventional. Humanity had always relied on innovation, improvisation, and cunning to overcome its enemies. It wasn't about having the most advanced weapons. It was about using what they had in the most effective way possible. The aliens had no idea what they were up against. Jason's eyes narrowed as he thought of the countless battles that had led him to this moment. His mind flashed to his fallen comrades, those who had fought beside him in the past, those who had given everything for the cause. He thought of Sergeant Bonner, who had died protecting the last line of defense during the battle of Earth's outer orbit. Bonner had been a soldier's soldier, brave and selfless to the end. His death had weighed heavily on Jason, but it had also fueled his resolve. The pain of losing Bonner was a reminder of what was at stake. It wasn't just about fighting for victory. It was about honoring the sacrifices made by those who had fallen. Then there were the memories of his family, the ones he had lost so long ago. Jason had lost everything: his parents, his brother, his home. When the war had first broken out on Earth, he had been just a boy when the fighting had started, but those memories of destruction, of watching his world crumble, had stayed with him ever since. The loss had shaped him, molded him into the man he had become. He had learned to survive by any means necessary. And now he would fight not just for the fallen, but for those who still had a chance to live. The deep emotional weight of these memories pressed on him, but it also gave him strength. The ghosts of the past, the faces of those he had lost, and the voices of those who had fought beside him, they were all with him now. This was not just about saving Earth. This was about avenging the lives lost in the wars of the past. This was humanity's chance to show the galaxy that they would not go quietly into the dark. No matter how many times they were knocked down, humanity would always get back up. Jason's ship rocked as an enemy ship launched a retaliatory strike. He steadied himself and pushed the throttle forward, weaving his ship through the incoming barrage. The explosions that followed lit up the dark expanse of space. But Jason was undeterred. His thoughts were still anchored in the same place: victory. This battle, this war, it was about survival, not just for him, but for every single person on Earth. "Carter, we've got a problem," came the voice of Lieutenant Bennett, snapping him back to reality. "The Council is deploying their heavy artillery. We need to break their lines before they reach Earth's atmosphere. Otherwise, we won't have a planet to protect." Jason clenched his jaw. The stakes had just escalated. "Understood. Everyone, fall back to position. We'll hit them with everything we've got." With a sharp turn of the controls, Jason led his squadron into a deadly dive toward the heart of the enemy fleet. His heart pounded in his chest, but he didn't flinch. Not now. Not when everything he had fought for, everything humanity had fought for, was hanging in the balance. The battle was reaching its peak. Earth's survival depended on every single one of them. But Jason knew, deep down, that they would win. They always did. This was humanity's moment to rise above the impossible once again. He had always known that Earth's greatest strength wasn't its technology, but its unyielding will to survive. And this time, that will was stronger than ever. As the fleet prepared for their final push, Jason's heart swelled with determination. The aliens had thought they were facing a doomed species, but they had no idea just how dangerous humanity could be when pushed to the brink. Jason had no intention of letting Earth fall. Not today. Not ever. The sounds of war were deafening, but in the midst of it all, there was a strange, quiet tension. Jason Carter's eyes narrowed as he surveyed the battlefield, his mind racing. They had been pushing forward, gaining ground, fighting back against the alien invaders with everything they had. But something was off. It was more than just the overwhelming power of the alien fleet. There was something hidden, something lurking beneath the surface of this fight. It wasn't until the attack on the key human outpost that Jason truly realized the depth of the betrayal. It came without warning. A sudden ambush by a massive alien force, unlike anything they had faced before. The sky was torn apart with blinding explosions, and the ground shook as alien warships dropped from orbit. Jason's heart sank as he realized the scale of the attack. This wasn't just a skirmish. It was a full-scale assault aimed at wiping out a critical human position. The human soldiers fought back with all their might, but it was clear that they were outnumbered and outgunned. The alien robots and drones cut through the defenses with chilling efficiency, their movements mechanical and precise. For a moment, Jason thought they might not survive this one. Then, in the chaos, something happened that made his blood run cold. One of the soldiers, Bonner, a trusted officer and longtime friend, was caught in the line of fire. He had been leading a defensive charge when an enemy sniper's laser struck him. Jason watched as Bonner's body hit the ground, his blood mixing with the dirt. But that wasn't what made Jason's stomach twist in anger. It was the look on Bonner's face, the realization that something wasn't right. The last breath he took wasn't one of a soldier dying in battle. It was one of betrayal. Jason felt his world tilt as the pieces started falling into place. Bonner, a soldier Jason had trusted with his life, had been working with the enemy all along. His loyalty had been a lie. He had been feeding critical intelligence to the aliens, and it was his treachery that had led to the ambush. The realization hit Jason like a punch to the gut. Bonner had sabotaged them from the inside, putting the lives of every soldier in danger. The discovery of Bonner's betrayal struck deep, leaving a wound in the heart of humanity's resistance. How could someone so close, someone Jason had fought beside for years, turn against them? But there was no time to mourn. The war wasn't over yet, and the stakes had just gotten even higher. Bonner was dead now, but his actions had led to a devastating setback for Earth's forces. The ambush had crippled their position, and they were losing precious ground. Fury burned in Jason's chest. He had never felt a rage like this before, not even in the heat of battle. The thought of someone within their ranks working for the aliens made his blood boil. But Jason wasn't one to sit back and let this slide. He wasn't about to let the death of his friend, or the betrayal, go unanswered. Jason slammed his fist against the control panel of his ship. "We're going after them," he growled. His voice was low but filled with an unyielding determination. "We're going straight for the heart of the alien fleet." The assault on the alien flagship would be dangerous. It would be a suicide mission for most, but Jason was willing to risk everything. He couldn't let the aliens think they had won. They had come this far, and they weren't going to lose now, not while there was still a chance to strike back. With a determined nod, Jason rallied his team. They knew what was at stake. There was no time for hesitation, no time for second-guessing. They had to act fast, before the alien forces could recover from their surprise attack. The human fleet had already suffered a significant blow, but they weren't done fighting. The plan was simple but deadly. They would infiltrate the alien flagship, destroy its core systems, and take down the Council's leadership. If they could neutralize the alien commanders, the rest of the fleet would be left without direction, and the remaining forces could be overwhelmed. It was a risky move, but it was their best shot. As Jason and his team prepared to board their stealth ships, the weight of the mission sank in. This would be no ordinary battle. They would be facing the full might of the alien forces, including their most dangerous robots and AI-controlled defenses. The Council had not just sent their soldiers, they had sent their most advanced creations, designed to wipe out humanity once and for all. Jason felt the familiar rush of adrenaline as he gave the order to move out. The team's ships engaged their cloaking devices, slipping silently into the heart of enemy territory. The alien flagship loomed ahead, a massive fortress of metal and technology. Jason's mind was sharp, his senses heightened. He knew that the slightest mistake could lead to their deaths. Inside the flagship, the aliens had set up a series of defenses, each one more deadly than the last. Jason's team had trained for this moment, but nothing could prepare them for the sheer scale of the danger that awaited. The alien robots, towering machines with razor-sharp claws and energy weapons, patrolled the hallways. Their movements were swift and precise, and they would show no mercy to anyone who dared to cross their path. But Jason wasn't about to back down. With his team at his side, he stormed through the flagship's corridors, using advanced human technology to fight back. The high-tech weapons in their hands crackled with energy as they cut through the alien defenses, each blast sending sparks flying. The air was thick with smoke and the sound of gunfire as the team fought tooth and nail to reach the Council's leaders. In close quarters combat, Jason's training kicked in. He moved with deadly precision, taking down alien robots with a combination of laser blasts and hand-to-hand combat. His team fought just as fiercely, using every weapon at their disposal to hold the line. The battle was intense, chaotic, and brutal, but they were determined to push forward. Every step forward was a victory, but the alien forces were relentless. Jason's heart pounded in his chest as he led his team deeper into the flagship, toward the Council's command center. The aliens were beginning to fight back in full force, and the odds were stacking higher with every passing minute. But Jason knew they had to succeed. Earth's survival depended on it. The betrayal of Bonner weighed heavily on his mind, but it also fueled his resolve. This wasn't just about fighting the aliens anymore. It was about avenging the losses they had suffered and proving that humanity would never give up. As they approached the heart of the flagship, the battle reached its boiling point. Jason and his team were pushing toward their final objective, the Alien Council. But the road to victory would be steep and filled with peril. With every move they made, the stakes grew higher. And Jason knew one thing for certain. This battle wasn't just about survival. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity, no matter the odds, would never bow to anyone. The stakes had never been higher. The alien flagship loomed before them, its massive form casting a shadow over everything. Inside, the crew of humanity's resistance was on a desperate mission, fighting their way through the heart of the enemy's power. Jason Carter and his squad had infiltrated the alien ship, but the clock was ticking. They had mere minutes to stop a super weapon capable of wiping out Earth itself. Jason's mind raced as he sprinted through the corridors, the sound of combat echoing in the steel halls. His team was with him, pushing forward with determination, each step fueled by the knowledge that Earth's future depended on them. The alien flagship was a fortress of technology, its walls lined with robotic soldiers and AI-controlled drones. But humanity wasn't about to be beaten. They had come prepared, armed with a mix of stolen alien tech and their own ingenuity. As they moved deeper into the flagship, the air was thick with tension. The mission was clear: plant explosives on the critical systems, disable the alien superweapon, and take down the command structure. The weapon, a planet-destroying device, was counting down to activation. If they didn't succeed, humanity would be obliterated in an instant. But the aliens weren't going down without a fight. The robotic soldiers came at them in waves, their metallic limbs moving with terrifying speed. Jason's squad fought back with every weapon they had. The hum of laser fire filled the air, and the sharp sound of energy shields cracking reverberated through the ship. They had trained for this moment, but the battle was far from easy. Alien drones buzzed around them like angry wasps, and the soldiers were forced to move quickly to avoid being overwhelmed. Despite the chaos, Jason remained focused. His eyes never left the mission. Every soldier in his squad knew what was at stake. They had all lost friends and loved ones in this war, and they weren't about to let that sacrifice be in vain. With every blast, every explosion, they made their way closer to their goal. The closer they got to the core of the flagship, the more the resistance felt the weight of their mission. They had to keep going. They couldn't stop now. Jason's heart raced as they neared the control room. He could feel the tremor of the alien superweapon activating, the countdown echoing in his ears. It was a race against time, and they were running out of it. They had to disable the weapon, or the consequences would be catastrophic. The thought of Earth being destroyed in an instant pushed Jason to move faster. His squad followed, unwavering in their resolve. The control room doors loomed ahead. As they burst through, the final obstacle stood before them: Captain Ilara, the cold and calculating leader of the alien forces. She stood tall, her alien eyes glowing with arrogance as she watched them enter. Ilara had no doubt in her mind that victory was hers. She had already seen humanity as a lesser species, an insignificant speck in the galaxy. But now, faced with Jason and his team, her confidence was unwavering. "You're too late," she sneered. "The weapon is already in motion. You cannot stop what is inevitable." Jason's eyes narrowed. The anger from the betrayal of Bonner, the loss of so many comrades, rising to the surface. He stepped forward, his voice steady but filled with resolve. "We're not here to negotiate. We're here to make sure Earth survives. And you won't be the one to stop us." Captain Ilara laughed, her voice echoing through the room. "You think you can defeat us? Our technology is far beyond yours. You are nothing but ants beneath our boots." But Jason wasn't intimidated. He had seen the power of human ingenuity in action. They might not have the advanced technology the aliens possessed, but they had something the aliens didn't: heart, resourcefulness, and the sheer will to survive. The aliens had underestimated humanity, and that was their fatal mistake. Ilara reached for the control panel, her fingers poised over the button that would activate the planet-destroying device. Jason's squad quickly took up positions around her, but he knew they had only one chance to stop her. If they didn't act fast, Earth would be doomed. Without hesitation, Jason pulled out the device they had been waiting for, a modified version of alien technology that they had managed to reverse engineer. It wasn't much, but it was enough. He aimed it at the control panel, and in a split second, a blast of energy shot out, striking the panel with a brilliant flash. Sparks flew, and the countdown stopped. Ilara's eyes widened in disbelief. She turned to her troops, who stood frozen, unsure of how to react. For the first time, doubt flickered in her cold, alien eyes. Jason wasn't about to let the opportunity slip away. In that moment of distraction, Jason charged at her, his heart pounding in his chest. Ilara tried to react, but Jason was faster. He ducked under her outstretched arm, narrowly avoiding her strike. With a swift movement, he activated the explosive charges planted earlier on the alien superweapon's core. The explosion was deafening, shaking the flagship to its very foundation. The alien commander staggered backward, stunned by the explosion and the loss of control over the weapon. But she wasn't done yet. With a roar, she attempted to draw a hidden blade, her alien strength pushing her to her feet despite the damage. She aimed for Jason, her eyes burning with fury. But Jason was prepared. He had trained for this moment, and he wasn't going to let her take him down. In one final desperate move, Jason activated another piece of human tech, a modified EMP grenade. He threw it toward Ilara, and in a flash of blue light, the alien leader was thrown off balance, her advanced systems disabling for a crucial moment. Seizing the opportunity, Jason lunged at her, knocking the weapon from her hand. He didn't hesitate. With one swift motion, he disabled her remaining defenses. Ilara's defiance was replaced by a look of shock and disbelief. She had underestimated humanity one final time, and it was too late to change her fate. Jason stood over her, breathing heavily, his hands shaking with adrenaline. He had done it. They had done it. With the weapon destroyed and Ilara incapacitated, the alien fleet was left in disarray. The humans had struck back, against all odds, and humanity had won, just in time. As the flagship began to crumble, Jason and his squad made their escape, knowing that their victory had just changed the course of the war. Earth had survived, but the fight was far from over. The battle for the galaxy was just beginning, and humanity had proven that they were not to be underestimated. The battle was over, but the cost of humanity's victory was painfully clear. The alien fleet lay in ruins, scattered across the galaxy like debris from a shattered dream. The invaders, once so sure of their superiority, had been utterly defeated. Yet, despite their triumph, the humans who had fought so bravely could not escape the grim reality of war. The echoes of the battle still lingered, the sounds of explosions and laser fire fading into the silence of space. Jason Carter stood on the command deck of the flagship, staring out at the wreckage of the alien armada. His victory was bittersweet. The cost had been too high. So many soldiers, so many friends, had fallen in the fight. The loss of life was staggering, and it felt as though no amount of victory could ever truly erase the scars that the war had left on Earth's people. The moment that had seemed so distant, the defeat of the alien invaders, had finally come. But as Jason watched the wreckage of the alien ships, he couldn't help but feel the weight of all the lives lost. It had been a long, brutal war, and the survivors were few. Jason's heart was heavy with grief as he thought of those who had given everything for this cause. Even the traitor, Bonner, who had ultimately redeemed himself in the end, was now gone. His sacrifice had allowed Earth's forces to land the final blow to the alien flagship, but it was a hollow victory. Jason had been part of countless battles in the past, but none had felt like this. None had felt so personal. The faces of the fallen soldiers flashed before his eyes. Friends, comrades, warriors who had fought by his side. They would never return home. Their families would never see them again. For every alien ship that had been destroyed, a human life had been lost. Yet, amidst the sorrow, there was a glimmer of hope. Humanity had done what no one thought possible. They had faced an overwhelming enemy, one that had been technologically superior and seemingly unstoppable. The aliens had underestimated Earth, believing that humans were no match for their advanced weapons and technology. But they had been wrong. The human spirit, resilient, determined, and unyielding, had proven to be more powerful than any weapon. In the end, it wasn't just the strength of humanity's weapons that had won the day. It was their resolve. The will to fight for survival, to protect their homes and loved ones, had pushed them beyond their limits. They had faced impossible odds and come out victorious. And now, the galaxy would know that humans were not to be underestimated. Jason thought of the message Earth's leaders had sent to the Galactic Council. It was clear and simple. Earth had won, and humanity would not back down. The Galactic Council had been ruthless in their pursuit of domination, but they had underestimated the strength of human resolve. Jason knew that this victory would send a message to every corner of the galaxy. But the cost of that message was steep. The death toll was high, and the scars of war would remain long after the last alien ship had been destroyed. Earth's forces had been pushed to their breaking point, and though they had emerged victorious, they knew that the war was far from over. The Galactic Council may have been defeated, but other threats would rise to take their place, and humanity would have to be ready for whatever came next. Jason felt the weight of his leadership pressing down on him. He had been through so much, and now, with victory in hand, he was left to pick up the pieces. The survivors would need time to heal, time to mourn the loss of their comrades. But the fight was not over. There would be no rest for them. Humanity had proven its strength, but the galaxy was vast, and there were many challenges ahead. Despite the pain and loss, Jason knew that Earth had proven something important. The human spirit could not be broken. No matter how advanced the enemy, no matter how many times they were pushed to the brink of extinction, humanity would always find a way to survive. It was a lesson that the alien invaders had learned too late. As the survivors regrouped and began to rebuild, Earth's leaders sent out a final message to the Galactic Council. It was a warning. Humanity would never be underestimated again. The galaxy had seen what Earth was capable of, and the price of underestimating humanity had been paid in full. The human race had proven that even in the face of impossible odds, they would stand and fight. The message was clear. Earth had fought for its survival, and now the galaxy would have to respect that. No longer would humanity be seen as weak or insignificant. No longer would they be viewed as mere prey for the superior alien races. Earth had proven its worth, and the galaxy would have to reckon with the fact that humans were no longer easy targets. As Jason looked out at the stars, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Despite the immense loss, despite the countless sacrifices, humanity had come through. They had faced down a force that was determined to destroy them. And they had survived. And while the cost had been great, the message was clear. Humanity's will to survive could never be broken. The future of Earth was uncertain, The war was not over. There were still many challenges ahead, but for the first time in a long while, Jason felt hope. The alien invasion was just the beginning of a new era. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they were a force to be reckoned with, and that was something that could never be taken away. The human spirit would always rise, no matter how dark the days ahead. In the final moments of the story, as Jason gazed at the stars and reflected on everything they had endured, the message from Earth's leaders was broadcast to the galaxy. The message was simple, yet powerful. Humans are deadlier than anyone thought. We will not be underestimated again. And with that, humanity's place in the galaxy was forever changed. The fight for survival had been won, but the war for the future had only just begun.